Federal Reserve has killed Prince and the music industry. Now, as many of you know, pop superstar Prince has passed away today, and that leaves a tremendous gap in the music industry. He was one of the few innovators in music. Whether you liked his music or not, there is broad consensus within the music industry that he was an innovator, he was a pioneer, and that he was a genius. Now, many of you may not know that throughout his career that has spanned decades, Prince has only won 7 awards. Now, to put this number into perspective, Kendrick Lamar, in the last Grammys that we just had a couple months ago, he won 5 awards in one night. Why we don't recognize true artists like Prince is because of market saturation. We have become accustomed to an inflationary mindset thanks to the Federal Reserve. And I point to the fact that in 1959, when the first Grammy Awards were given, there were only 28 awards, 28 categories from which an artist could win. In 2016, that number jumped up to 83 awards, 83 Grammy Awards given on Grammy night. That's nearly a 200% increase. 200% increase. And in the 58 years that the Grammy Awards have been handed out, there have been at least 8,000 awards given. I say at least because at one point in 2011, there were 109 awards given out. 109 when you initially started at 28 awards. Now, contrast this with the Academy Awards, the Oscars. The first Oscars awards were handed out in 1929. 1929. 15 awards were given. In 2016, there were 24 awards handed out. Of course, as the years go by, there are new developments, there are new categories to capture and to recognize those developments within the industry. But the important number here is that moving from 15 awards in 1929 to 24 awards in 2016, that's only a 60% increase. Since 1929, the 88 years that the Oscars have been handed out, there have been approximately 2,980 awards handed out. With less time, the Grammys have handed out exponentially more awards than the Oscars. Now, of course, you have to factor in the fact that there's not as many categories initially with the Academy Awards as there are with the Grammys. But that number, even when you account for that, has just grown way out of skew in the music industry. Again, in 2016, there were 83 awards handed out. In 2016, for the Oscars, there were only 24 awards handed out. That's a discrepancy of over 240%. 240% discrepancy. Even if you accounted for the fact that there were always going to be a doubling of categories in the initial starting point, 240%. Are you kidding me? That is a massive discrepancy that cannot be explained just by the fact that these two institutions had an initial difference in the number of categories to award. The Grammys have only been around for less than 60 years, and yet they've already handed out 8,000 awards, and the Oscars less than 3,000? I mean, come on. That is a perfect example of inflation. You have inflated the Grammy Awards. So you've handed out all these awards, but as you inflate the number of awards, each time somebody receives an award, it becomes less and less meaningful. It actually meant something to win a Grammy back in the 80s. Today, they're handing it out like candy. And it's very obvious because you look at the exponential rate of inflation in terms of the Grammys as compared to the Oscars. The Oscars, again, we were talking about a 60% increase way back from 1929, whereas in the Grammys, you're talking about a 200% increase from 1959.